Well, it seems like everybody's offended by something these days, folks. Well, I am the Mighty Plantain, and here is a collection of beers that's guaranteed not to offend your friends when they come over for game day. I say that in all honesty. Really, we've got Sam 76, Boston Lager, Bavarian Lager, and Cold Snap. These are all beers that will appeal to a wide variety of palates, and I think that's why it's in the Game Day Beers pack. You know, perfect for sharing. These are beers that even your hardcore Bud Light and Miller Lite lovers are going to find tolerable because they're not severely overly flavored. I mean, the Boston Lager is probably the one with the strongest flavor profile in this entire pack. And that's not to say they're bad beers. Well, except maybe the Sam 76. I don't hate it. I just find it to be average and, you know, it's a beer. It's not really anything that stands out for me, and if you watched the winter pack video, you'll know that I'm just highly offended by the fact that they put it in with winter beers when it's such a light, crisp, and easy drinking beer. It doesn't belong with the winter beers. And that plus the marketing campaign, it seems like they're trying to ram the Sam 76 down my throat every time I turn around. So like I said, I don't hate it. I'm just not crazy about it, and I'd like to see it just disappear out of my variety packs. Give me something different. Anyway, as I said, it does belong in the Game Day Beers pack. I will say that. It belongs in here because these are beers for sharing, and when you have a bunch of guys over to watch the game, not necessarily everybody in your circle of friends is going to be a beer enthusiast, and they're going to like what they like, and these are some pretty solid beers. So that being said, the lineup, I'm going to start with the Sam 76. That's the only one that I didn't arrange by IBUs. It's slightly higher in IBUs than the Cold Snap, but I think the Cold Snap has more flavor otherwise. I mean, the IBUs on these first three are low enough that you're not even really going to notice a difference. So Sam 76, then Cold Snap. We'll follow that up with the Bavarian Lager, and again, Boston Lager last, because I believe it does have the strongest flavor profile of any of these beers. So, that being said, and rant aside, Sam 76. Now, they say it's a perfect blend of an ale and a lager, if I remember correctly. Oh, I didn't even leave that much information on there. Oh! If I pull this out, it'll tell me. There we go. Alright. Yeah. Refreshing, flavorful craft. Come on. I thought there was something on the Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. 1776. The country's bicentennial. I could have sworn there was something on the label that said it was a perfect combination of an ale and a lager, but that aside, here we are. A nice, light, slightly hazy, but highly, highly effervescent beer. It's a little cloudy. Very, very bubbly. Pale, pale yellow. I mean, it's a nice looking beer, all things considered. Even being as light as it is, there's nothing wrong with a light beer. It's got a nice general beery aroma, and it does have some crispness to it. Yeah, just a nice general light, crisp, beery aroma. Grainy, mostly grain, not really getting any hop aroma or anything like that, just a general graininess. I'm not picking out any specific notes there. Nice light mouthfeel, very crisp, very refreshing. but I'm just getting a nice light beeriness about it. Again, there's nothing really standing out for me in the profile of the flavor for this beer. So I am going to hit it, as I have before, with a 2.5 out of 5. Now, a 2.5 out of 5 is a flat average rating. I don't dislike it, like I said, but I'm not impressed. There's nothing about it that I'm too keen on. But I think I've harped on it long enough. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to grab the Cold Snap. Alright, next up, Cold Snap. This is a fairly new beer from Sam Adams. I think they put it out, if not last winter, then the winter before that. I could be wrong about that, but it's within the last couple or 2 or 3 years. And it's a white ale with spices. Oh, brewed with spices and spices added. I guess it seems kind of redundant, but brewed with spices and then having spices added after the brew, 2 different processes. So like I said, it is 10 IBUs, which puts it, I think, a couple behind a couple under the Sam Adams Sam 76. But the Cold Snap with those spices has more of a distinct flavor, so I put it after the Sam 76 because 2 IBUs on a scale, excuse me, it's not even that late yet, on a scale of, less than 20 isn't really going to make a huge difference. Now, this is hazier, slightly darker with a bit of an orangish tinge to it, and actually more effervescent than that Sam 76. I'm not getting much of an aroma off of it, though. Just a very neutral aroma. Yeah, not even a vague graininess, so not much of anything there at all. Nice medium light mouthfeel. A little bit more body than the Sam 76. And it's another smooth, easy drinking beer. I am getting some spiciness from it. Not a hot spiciness, just a general spiciness. I almost want to say like allspice or something like that. I'm not picking up any specific notes. I mean, maybe a little nutmeg. Now, I don't know exactly what's in it for spices, so I could be getting, something similar to nutmeg, but I seem to be getting a little nutmeg. Maybe something a little cinnamony, and something savory along the lines of not necessarily garlic or anything really strong, but just something slightly salty, savory, but very, very subtle. And so again, I'm not really able to identify any of the specific spices in there, just a general, maybe nutmeg, but the blend that's coming together gives it some character. I'm going to hit this one with a 3.5 out of 5. Like I said, it's got a little bit more body, a little bit more character than the Sam 76. It's a nice, crisp, easy drinking beer. It definitely works for winter time. It would work for spring, fall, and summer as well. Just a really well-rounded, above-average beer. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that one up. By the way, one of my wife's favorite beers right now. She's always looking for it in the winter, and for as long into the year as she can find it on the bargain shelves once it's done being rotated out of the regular stores. So I'm going to finish it up. And we're going to move on to that Bavarian Lager. Alright, so now we have the Bavarian Lager. Golden lager with bright citrus notes. Now, this one's also a relative newcomer. I want to say it's within the last year that this one's come out. I'm not 100% sure on that. I seem to remember seeing it as a new beer in one of the variety packs recently. I'll have to look that up. But there we go. It is a little bit darker than the Cold Snap. Still got an orangish hue to it, but it's more consistent throughout the beer, and it's darker in the thinner part of the glass where there's less beer to interfere with the light. It's also very effervescent. A lot of bubbles coming up through this one. I mean, look at that. That's an amazing amount of bubbles. All three of these beers so far have been extremely bubbly. Just a general beery aroma, maybe getting a tiny hint of maybe a lemony citrus. At the tail end there, just a bit of citrus. Not a whole lot, though. Maybe a hint of sweetness, too, there. Just a little hint. Nice medium light mouthfeel. So, similar in heaviness to the Cold Snap. Nice malty, grainy mouthful there. Not quite as crisp as the previous two. It's got a similar mouthfeel to the Cold Snap, but it's got a little bit more body to it. So even though it drinks just as smoothly and just as lightly as the Bavarian Lager, it just seems to have more maltiness to it. And then it finishes with a distinct tinge of citrus. Although it's not crazy, it's not overwhelming. I'm going to hit this one with a 3.5 out of 5 as well. Again, it's going down smooth, it's going down easy. It's a nice, well put together beer. Well, it's great to drink. And you can sit around with any one of these all day long so far. Of course, we all know how I feel about the Boston Lager, so I'm still going to film it. But there won't be any mysteries there for anybody who's seen me do any of the Sam Adams variety packs before. But just easy drinking beers. I mean, actually, I think the Bavarian is going down a lot faster than the other two. So I'm going to slow down before it goes to my head. Finish this one, and then we'll get the Boston Lager out. Okay, last up, but certainly not least, is the Sam Adams Boston Lager. Like I said before, folks, there are no mysteries here if you've seen me review any of these Sam Adams mix packs before, but I'm going to go through the motions just in case. Yes, look at that. Beautiful, light, yellowish copper color. It is clear, not cloudy, which is not necessarily a bad thing. You can see through this beer. Can't read a damn newspaper through it, Jim Cook will tell you that, and so will anybody who gives you the brewery tour in Boston. It's like a fucking pilgrimage going down there, folks. If you're ever in Boston, go take the Sam Adams Brewery tour. It's free. They ask you to donate to, I think it's a local charity it goes towards. And you get 4 samples at the end, depending on what they've got on tap at the time. You're going to get some good beers regardless of what it is. But just, it rotates, during the season. And sometimes you'll even get an experimental beer that did not make it to market. Something that doesn't even have a name. That happened one of the times I went on the tour. But it's, like I said, it's like a pilgrimage. Like any brewery tour. It's awesome. You go through, and most of the tours take you through similar steps. Each of the steps in the brewing process. But each one is slightly different, and it's just this great experience. And then at the end, you get to drink the brewery's beer. I love brewery tours, and you should take advantage of any that you get a chance to go on. But the Sam Adams one is really well put together. There's a lot of history in the building. Even while you're waiting for the tour to start, you can watch a beer ferment sit on one of the counters out front. At least they did that the 2 times I was there. And you can see all the different bottles of their older beers that they don't produce anymore, some that are currently in production, just sitting on the shelves. It's really cool. And the gift shop is awesome. Anyway, enough about that. Let's get back to the beer. It is, like I said, a beautiful beer. Quite effervescent. Not as many bubbles coming up through here as there were on the other 3, but still a fair number of bubbles. This particular glass was designed with Sam Adams Boston Lager in mind. The perfect pint glass, and they've got that little, laser etching on the bottom that provides a nucleation point for those bubbles to come up through. There's a reason I use this glass for most of my beer reviews. It's because there are 4 different style glasses, maybe more, but 4 that are widely recognized for different beer styles. As far as I'm concerned, with the Sam Adams Boston Lager, this glass being made to enhance it, this glass is set up to enhance the drinking experience for pretty much any beer out there. Is it going to do as good a job as a specific IPA glass or a specific stout glass or a snifter, which is recommended for certain types of beers? Maybe not, but it's got characteristics that make it a great glass for just about any beer style out there. And that's just my opinion. Again, it was specifically designed for Boston Lager. So, anyway, man. Yeah, only 3 beers in, and these guys are not that heavy ABV. I think I'm just in a chatty mood tonight. I'm a little caffeinated, and got my ego stroked a couple times today. So, I'm good to go. Anyway, it's a beautiful beer, and maybe the fact that I'm excited about drinking a Sam Adams Boston Lager is playing into my chattiness too. Seems kind of silly, but if you like this beer as much as I do, you'll understand. It's got that nice roasty. I'm actually getting a little bit of nuttiness from it tonight. I don't normally get that nuttiness, so it's possible. I've been cleansing with water in between each of these beers, but it's possible that something from one of the other beers is still resting on my palate and bringing out something different in the Boston Lager. But there's just this nice malty, slightly hoppy aroma, and I am getting a hint of nuttiness at the end there. That's new. Here we go. Still a nice... I'm going to go with a medium mouthfeel. Maybe it's just in comparison to these guys, but I think I normally characterize this as medium light, but tonight I'm feeling like it's more on the end of medium. It's got some significant body to it. Just a nice graininess. I'm getting some of that nuttiness and a little bit of sweetness in it tonight, too. So again, maybe it's something about these other beers lingering on the palate, some of the spices, or maybe it's just the fact that they are so light in comparison in terms of overall flavor, that it's bringing out notes that I don't normally pick up on with the Sam Adams, because I don't think I've mentioned the sweetness or the nuttiness before, but I'm getting them tonight. Oh. And just this overall nice malty graininess. No specific notes coming out, just it's like a nice bowl of hoppy oatmeal. Not specifically the oat flavor. Again, I'm not getting any sort of oaty flavor. Just an overall nice graininess, and then that hint of hoppy bitterness in the finish. Again, I'm not getting a specific hop note, just a general hoppy bitterness, but the fact that this beer is so well put together and so fully balanced that I'm experiencing everything that I would expect from a fully well-rounded and well put together beer. This one is always a 5 out of 5 for me. You know, some might say it's a little plain, it doesn't stand out, but for me, I would compare it to things like Bigelow Brewing. It's a local Maine brewery. Their Lying Bastard, Stone's Arrogant Bastard, a lot of bastards in here. Just beers that don't necessarily have any particular standout characteristics. They're not crazy, they're not off the wall, they're not necessarily 100% unique in their overall experience. Their specific flavor, yes, is 100% unique. I've never found anything that tastes like Boston Lager. I've even had a homebrew clone that was supposed to be a clone of Sam Adams Boston Lager, and it just didn't quite have that experience, that overall strong taste, that strong but muted taste. Well, I guess not muted, but strong but non-specific taste. It's got a nice, strong malty profile, a nice, strong hoppy bitterness, but it's not overwhelming, and it's there are no specific characteristics I can point to, and it's just an overall great experience. Excuse me. But again, those other two I mentioned are just a couple that fall into this same category, where it's not necessarily a beer that stands out for any particular reason other than the fact that it is so perfectly put together. Okay, so perfect 5 out of 5. Once again, regular viewers are used to that, and they probably skipped over that whole bit where I talked about this beer because you've heard it in one form or another so many times before. But whether you skipped it or not, thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like and share the video, and don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to share, folks. Those shares are what's going to drive up the subscriber numbers and help me keep going with this channel. At some point, I'd like to turn it into a revenue maker again. Used to be you only needed 250 subscribers, I think, on YouTube to start earning ad money. And yes, it was pennies. It was pennies per week. But they were still trickling in, and I did get a payout at one point. It was the last payout I'm going to get, though, for a while. We got to get up to 1,000 subscribers, and I think it's 4,000 hours a year of viewing time. But anyway, those shares, the sharing the video, Facebook, Twitter, I don't care where you share it, just share it. That's going to help me more than anything else. It's going to get the word out there, because Facebook took back their organic reach that they used to have, where when you share something, everybody on your friends list sees it. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. I've already rambled a little bit too much on this video, and I shouldn't be, because I'm only, like I said, 3 beers in, average ABV per beer. So please share, subscribe. That's awesome. I appreciate those subscriptions. Thanks every one of you for tuning in. But share the video, please. And hit me up down in the comments and the email link down below. Love to hear what you have to say about these beers yourself. If you agree with me, oh yeah, stroke that ego again. If you disagree with me, I'm more than happy to listen to your opinion, and I'd love to hear it, because taste is subjective. Not everybody likes the same things. Okay. I gotta cut this short before I start rambling about that crap again. Not that crap again, but something else here. Anyway, thanks again for tuning in. Till next time, cheers. Holy shit, that one's gonna be gone before the others were. Way faster.